and I think we've already talked about it, but it's always worth going over again. The one rule with decimal addition, subtraction, simply DJ was to
Line up the decimal.
line them up. Now, the only problem we might come up with is what happens when a number doesn't have a decimal. For example, what if it's, 9 minus 3.82? How do I line up a decimal that's not there? Simple fix, Grace Davenberg is?
You change the 9 and just put a decimal point and then 0.
Right. You can always, write this down, you can always put a decimal at the, in big letters, end of whole numbers. Okay, in other words, a whole number doesn't have a decimal, but you are always allowed to put one at the end of it. Just like a lot of times we write $8 like this. Well, $8 is the same thing as $8. You can put a decimal at the end of 8 there. So with this one here, it would be 9 point, lining up your decimals, 3.82. Feel free to put your zeros in there. Do your subtraction. Christine.
So you don't have to put the decimal there?
Well, you don't have to unless you need to, but if you're subtracting or adding something that does have a decimal, you're going to have to. You don't have to put a decimal. The problem is just 8 plus 9. You can just write 17 or do it, but if there's a decimal in one of them, you're going to have to put 8.0 plus 9 point whatever. You don't have to put the decimals there unless you need to, but anytime you're working with decimals, you're going to have to. Okay, so when you do this, this becomes 8, 10, 9, 10. 8, 1 decimal answer. Just know that you can always, if you need a decimal, you can always put it at the end of a whole number. Not at the beginning. Don't put the decimal here, because that's not where it goes. It goes at the end. Jacob?
So say if you're adding.
Let's say if we're adding. Sometimes I like to have specifics. You got specific for me?
Yes. Say if you're adding 8 plus
8.
3.37.
Yes.
And I don't think you really need the decimals because you already know.
Well, and here's the problem though, Jacob, people run into is a lot of times when they add, they always line up the left side. I mean, like if you're doing a number like 365 plus 23, we're so used to writing it like this, where you line up, we call it right justifying the numbers at the end. But if you do that with this, you're going to get the wrong answer because you might think you can do this, 3.37 plus 8, and that will give you the wrong answer because that's not going to be true. Okay, so you really need to stick that decimal in there because that puts the 8 in the 1's place where it belongs, and then the 0 is where they belong. Okay, just in case you get confused with that. That's a good question. But you need to have, if you're working with decimals, really it's a good idea to put them in there. Perfect, that's not the best thing about